Well, I'm glad that some of you have made it out. If you have not, I encourage you to come join us. We're quite a party, at least I think we are. I think this is okay. Yeah, I just wanted to show you our website. When I do tour guide things, I try and mostly focus on what I imagine first year or potential students would want to know about women's studies. So I'll talk for a little bit, and then if any of you, how many of you are returning tour guides, or are these all new?
All new tour guides.
Wow, that's so exciting. So that question doesn't work, but we'll see what we can do. All right, so, and if you take notes, I think that would be very helpful, as I'm sure you're receiving so much information, just like back to back to back to back to back to back to back. So usually I see you all kind of come to the front of the center. I'd say you're welcome to come in. It might be a little cramped on Tuesdays. Anyone know what happens on Tuesdays at the Center for Women's Studies? Say it loud and proud. I love it. All right, so one of the main things I would highlight for students is our brown bag series. It's Tuesdays at 11:30, and there's always lunch provided. The wonderful thing about brown bags, which I think kind of speaks to the mission of the center, is that we want to talk about anything and everything that can fall under what is considered feminist. And that might seem like a difficult question, but it's a trick question because everything can be discussed through a feminist lens. Absolutely everything. And we take pride in not just focusing on the experience of one kind of woman, or even just women, right? We talk about how gender intersects with race and class, and sexuality and all of those other things. So on Tuesdays at 11:30, we have our brown bags, which every week there'll be a new topic. And it's just such a wonderful opportunity to either dive deeper into a topic you maybe thought you knew well, but surprise, surprise, there's a whole other world if you dig a little deeper, or something you literally have never heard of in your life. On September 4th, this is me just inviting you all, so this isn't really like tour guide training. So on September 4th, we'll have our first brown bag. The title of it will be 200 Years on Occupied Land. So we're having our 200-year anniversary of Colgate, which is an exciting time. Women's Studies asks the question, well, this hasn't always been Colgate or American land. This is initially Oneida land as part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. So what does it mean to live and work and go to school on land that was originally Oneida land and was taken from them? So that'll be September 4th, so you should come check it out because it's going to be great. So Women's Studies asks the question, Women's Studies asks us to question what we consider normal, what we consider to be day-to-day. How did we get there, and do we need to think on it more deeply? So I would encourage tell your, what do you call them? Tour guidees? Something? Anyway, tell them that we have a series of programming at the center that really pushes the idea of, pushes your, I totally lost my train of thought, but the center has a series of events that really expands, there we go, that's a good word, expands your knowledge past what might be considered normal or average. The other thing I would say to incoming or potential students is that the Center for Women's Studies has an internship program. Are any of them? No, I don't have any of them here, no. But I have 6 positions for students, and incoming first years can apply if I have space. But they're a wonderful opportunity to not only gain skills, professional skills, because we live in a capitalist society and we're going to have to work in order to sustain ourselves and support ourselves. So it gives you skills in the sense of planning, organization, programming, a multitude of things, but through a feminist lens. So Gracie Morgan is my sexual and intimate partner violence program intern. I have a women's wellness intern, that's Kate Barber. So they get to practice professional skills, put it on their resume, say I had this job or internship for 2 years, 3 years even, Kate has had hers for. And it gets to align with like my feminist ideological beliefs. Isn't that the dream? So I have an internship program which might be really interesting for students to learn about. The Center for Women's Studies is also one of the only places in the United States, it's like, I don't know, I'm not going to say a number because that's going to be a lie, but it's one of the few programs in the United States that's both a women's studies academic and women's resource center combined. Usually they're two separate entities, maybe they talk, maybe they don't. Ours are one and the same because we want to combine theory through academics and praxis, which is how you practice that theory in your day-to-day life, together. We have the center. How many of you have taken a nap at the center? You can be honest. Thank you for being a real one. Thank you, because I know y'all have taken naps there. But we have a wonderful center that has a lot of different resources for students as well. Computers, printers for academic things. We have a very extensive library that again is feminist, but everything is feminist if you try hard enough, so it covers a lot of different topics. And we also have the general lounge space, which is open until 9 p.m. most nights, so that students can come, work on academics, write their papers. Hopefully they're writing their papers. I pray. I just pray you are. But also to be in community with each other. And it's a wonderful space where you don't have to, I think college gives people a lot of expectations. And you try really hard to meet all of those, and sometimes those expectations don't line up to who you are as a person. And I think the center is a really wonderful opportunity where students can be themselves and not have to change the way they speak or change the way they dress or change the way that they act in a certain way in order to just be their full selves. And it's a wonderful space to do that. I think that's pretty much it. And the center also has faculty offices. Does anyone have any questions? Or praise for me? I like that. Thank you for laughing, because it was a joke. Does anyone have any questions or anything like that? Or any thoughts to what might be questions that parents or students might have for you? Because I don't really know. All I see you guys do is like this. Okay.
I have a quick question.
Love it.
I would like to ask, a lot of the times we have prospective students that are really excited about the idea of diving into a particular topic or theory or issue, and so they want to apply it through research. And a lot of the times as well, when I talk to prospective students, I like to stress to them that research isn't just working with test tubes in the lab. It's being able to put something new and original in your field. So is there any maybe particular stories of students recently that you know that have done some pretty substantial research or activism, some kind of like action-oriented component of their study in the Department of Women's Studies that would be good to share as a story?
So when you're a women's studies major, your final semester you do a praxis project, which will take the theory that you've done in class and hopefully turn it into something that, not physical, but something that is actionable. One student, she said, listen, I'm from an upper class, mostly heavily white area. I went to a private school, and in high school we didn't talk about social justice issues, is how she framed it. So what she ended up forming as her praxis project was she created a curriculum alongside faculty, WIMS faculty, and she brought that curriculum specifically to talk to high schoolers about social justice issues. And she took it back to her high school, and they actually ended up, well, I'm sure they did because she put a lot of work into it. They ended up really loving the idea, and they put it as part of, they have like their own mini one-day orientation for their high school students, incoming freshmen. To put it as part of the orientation day is the workshop that she created. Let's see, what else is there? One of my interns, I don't know that this is necessarily, she did it through Ed Studies. She, Woo-hee Kim and Hazel Kim, angels from heaven they are. They did research in Korea on comfort women, which were Korean women who were actually sexually abused during the war by Japanese soldiers. Okay, so they did a lot of research on it, and they were able to take that research that they did, and they hosted one of our women's studies brown bags so that they had a solid hour where they were able to present their research to an audience of about 80 people. There's always a ton of people at brown bags. They were able to present their research, interact with the audience. So the audience got a piece, but they also got a chance to kind of like show what they had spent all of their summer having research on. And there are other ones. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Someone who works in OE, she created a proposal to work alongside groups in the area that combined outdoor education, or the idea of outdoor education, with marginalized groups. So I think there was a group called like Black Girls Climb or something like that. It was really, this funky outdoorsy group was really cool.
Those are great examples.
Okay, I was like, I'm just not sure.
Those are great examples. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
I forget, are brown bags are organized by faculty, or is it organized by students themselves?
Brown? Hi.
Or is there a leadership opportunity within women's studies for students to
Sure. So the logistics of brown bags are organized by but in the past, women's studies and most, I think, brown bag lecture-esque things have been a spot for faculty to like take their research and they stand in front and they read it, and then people ask questions, and then, you know, so sometimes in the past it's been very academic focused. So in women's studies, I pride myself in believing that students don't have more or better knowledge than my interns, who do not have more or better knowledge than me, who does not have more or better knowledge than Susan, the director. I think I meant to flip that. Anyway, so like I mentioned with Woo Hee, she came to me and said, well, not to me, to the previous program coordinator, and asked if it would be possible to present her research. And Allie Fry, the old one, said, absolutely. I've said this, I try and say this in most trainings, I'm surprised I forgot. If there is a student who's very passionate about something, or even if they're curious about something, I'm always willing to sit down and plan what either a brown bag or a separate women's studies event could look like. If funding is a concern or anything like that, we have resources, we've funded plenty of people, we know how to get those funds to bring who you want. Does anyone know Zahira Kelly, that Dominicana on Twitter? No? Well, you're in luck because she's coming, but she talks a lot about anti-Blackness in Latin American countries. And I felt that was a really important kind of topic to have at the beginning of Latinx Heritage Month to kind of frame the conversation. And my director said, yes, let's go, let's do it. So I would encourage any student, you or to tell your students or your tour guidees, that any topic that can fall under feminist spectrum, and guess what, it's everything, can come talk to me or one of my interns. If it's specifically about sexual violence, I can go and talk to Gracie about it, to kind of see how can we collaborate, what can we do. Students can host brown bags, we can bring somebody, yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay, cool, I'm glad. Have any more questions? Oh yeah, sorry.
So earlier you mentioned that WIPS combines like the academic side of theory with resources, which is like practices.
Yeah.
What do you mean by resources?
So we combine theory and praxis. What I meant by that, and kind of like what I mentioned with the praxis projects for seniors, we take the theory and say, so that one student, a lot of anti-racist theory in hopefully all women's studies classes. She took that and said, how can I form that and turn that into curriculum? I mean, resources, when I think of resources, I always think of money. So women's studies does have resources in that sense to either, like she didn't pull this out of, I mean, it came from her head, but we had her consult with other faculty and things like that. Shanario Kogeri, I hope I said that right. She graduated last year and she created Navigating, which was a zine for tips for being a person of color, a woman of color at Colgate, and how do you manage that? And so they're really thick printed books, and Women's Studies said, we're going to print them for you. And so we created something that not only was in her head or on a document, but that she could give to other people in other departments. We also take students to conferences. I'm so sorry, I'm talking for so long. We have the National Women's Studies Association Conference in November, and this year it's in Atlanta. Woo! And we're hoping to take about 4 students, and they can be anybody that's a WIMS student. And so we take them to, what am I trying to say? It's kind of like a professional development comboed with being able to see what being a feminist or women's studies scholar looks like when you're not an undergrad, right? So we have that opportunity as well, that we can fund travel and things like that for students. We'll cover their hotels and their food. It's great. It's wonderful. You can join me. I'm going. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Did you have a question? Hi.
Yeah, it was like probably much clearer when you were talking about student research and what that's done, and I wanted to ask if that could extend. Like, is there any notable faculty research in the department that we could mention to students? I know that sometimes students like to hear about like what kind of professors are teaching these programs and if they've done anything notable.
My really bad answer is I'm sure there are, and that's a terrible thing to say. What I will say is, in my position, I don't interact with faculty all that much. I'm not particularly involved in like the courses. Like I know what you need to do to be a women's studies major, but I don't even know what's on the docket this semester. I'm trying to think. I'm sorry, I can't think of anything, I guess, that I would consider notable. Christina Sterna, who is the one and only full-time WIMS faculty, everyone else is like Williamston Film and Media Study, Williamston Ed Study, something like that. She just came off of a year of doing research in Mexico, but I don't know details. So I'm sorry that I can't answer that better. I should probably
I will find Professor Stern.
find Professor Sterna, yes.
Yeah, we'll follow up, but thank you.
Yeah, of
Seriously.
course. Anybody else? And now that I know what all of you look like, I'll keep an eye out for you at the center. Some people find, and this is for all of you also, some people find the center intimidating because the people there care so much about different issues. So if you also, if you want to get more involved, but you go in there and you're like, or you can't even go inside because you're like, this space is so intimidating and these people are like so close, I would encourage you to just like pop in, take a seat, open up your computer, sit in the lounge. You'll end up talking to somebody and you'll find your way into the bubble. Some people call it the women's studies bubble because it's a really wonderful place to be. So yeah, if you find it intimidating, just go. I'll be there. I can be like, hey, this is so-and-so. Let's go. Let's be friends, because that's the kind of person I am. But yeah, so if anyone has any questions, I'll pass it off to Tiffany. Thank you so much. I didn't realize I was going to talk for so long. But thank you. Well, you pulled up the faculty for me. Thank you. I didn't notice that. That's so considerate.
Hi everyone. So I am actually not going to talk that long because this is week 6 for me on the job. So my name is Tiffany Lane. I am the new director for LGBTQ plus initiatives here on campus. My office, to give you a location, is also in East Hall as well. My office specifically is 108B. So let students know to not be a stranger. Parents too, if they want to drop by, say hello, answer any questions, grab a piece of chocolate or a stress ball, because they'll need stress balls later on this school year. To give you a little bit about what I do, a lot of my job is going to be around resourcing, consulting, educating, training, advocating, programming, though the programming piece will be mostly my student interns when I hire them. So if you want to plug that, I am hiring interns for my program too. So let them know that there are job opportunities available. Just to talk a little bit about some of the signature programs that we do that I'd love for you to mention. We have a safe zone that we do. It's usually student-led / probably will be led by me. I haven't figured that out yet. But it's just another way of learning how to be an ally, terms, how to support people coming out, learning about privilege, identity, and just how you can just be a great ally to anyone on campus. We also have a Lavender graduation, which is usually in April, and that's just our way of celebrating our graduating seniors, recognizing student leaders, even leaders in faculty and staff for all of their work of being an ally and advocating and just really contributing to making Colgate a LGBT inclusive campus. We also do something called family dinners. We do this every Tuesday. The first one is September 18th. And what that is just a way to be in community, sharing a space and sharing a meal. It's another way for students and faculty and staff. It's open to everybody. Just to get to know other people on campus, relax a little bit while filling your belly with meals. They are usually in Frank's Hall, but this year I reached out to some colleagues who are going to be co-hosting, so some of them will be in different spaces, which will be advertised when I have the poster made and a couple things confirmed. We do limit tickets at Frank to about 20 people this year, so that'll also be on the poster as well, but let them know that we have this program that's really great, so please share that with students. We also do a newsletter just to tell you the ins and outs of what's happening. There'll be stories shared. I believe it's weekly. I might change that, not entirely sure yet, but just let them know there's a newsletter and they can sign up for that. We also, we are a trans and gender nonconforming, just positive school here, so there's resources. We really want students to feel that their identity is respected, so when it comes to preferred name and pronoun, we really do work hard to make sure that the students feel like they can bring their whole entire selves and feel affirmed. And so a lot of my job will be to work with faculty to make sure that is affirmed, whether it be on the roster. There might be some faculty here that have a identity affirming statement in their syllabi, and what I mean by that is basically they say, however you want to be known in class, please let me know, because I respect your identity. And basically the short end of that as well. My job is mostly to make sure that students feel welcomed and included here and affirmed, and so that's a lot of what the office does. I also work closely with WIMS and LGBT studies as well. If you want to learn more about LGBT in terms of in an academic setting, take a class. They are great, I've heard. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but I actually don't know the names of them at all. It's 6 weeks, so. But you should take a class. Take advantage of that. What I loved about college was all the opportunities that I had and all the different classes I could take. And I tried to do what I could. So please encourage your students to do that as well. Again, I do and collaboration as well. I also see this work is very important. It's very institutionalized, and so I will do my best to work with a lot of different departments. Working also with campus safety real closely, admissions, career. So I just really want you to let them know that this school is really about making sure all students feel welcome here, all students see themselves here. And so I'm really about branching out and making sure all aspects of this campus is really serving all LGBTQ plus students. And building allyship across campus as well is super important. Things that probably would pop up on a campus tour would be, is this school trans inclusive? Yes, it is. Res Life is really great in terms of letting students know, using the bathroom that identifies with their gender, housing with someone that you feel comfortable with as well. That partnership was already established, and it's going to continue being established, and so let students know that. Let them know that the office is not just for gay people, it's for everybody. Allies, want them in the space, want them at the programming. So please let students know that, because I think a lot of people say, oh, this is not a space for me, this is a program not for me. No, it's for everybody. The only way that we're really going to create change is if people feel comfortable not only seeing themselves and feeling welcome, but also if allies feel that they can contribute to the work as well, and they can be part of the bigger picture of making sure this campus is, in fact, inclusive to everyone. What else can come up on campus? Is there a director? Yes. Hi, me. Am I available? Yes, but email first, please. Also,
Sorry.
I was going to say student groups, so what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say gender neutral bathrooms on campus.
Yes. So there are gender neutral bathrooms on campus. There actually is a list too.
Yeah.
I've been up updated list. I don't know if it's on the website, but there is a list. So if students are ever wanting to know about that, let them know that that list exists. We do have those facilities. Is everywhere gender neutral bathroom facility? No, but we have a good start because some campuses don't even have that. So that is a thing here. We also have student groups. We have Lambda and we have QT-POC as well. I couldn't tell you the meeting dates or the leaders off the top of my head, but they do exist. I know because I emailed them. So we do have those groups here on campus too. A lot of what I've been told, they're social. They do some programming as well. So if you want to learn more about that, let them know that. I think through the center, I can CLSI should have all the list stuff, shouldn't they? Or
Yeah, and then on Get Involved.
And on Get Involved, they should be listed there. Hopefully they're listed there, and they can reach out and contact about how they can be involved or even go to a meeting. What else can I tell you?
This is for gender neutral now.
There you go. It exists.
It does, and it tells you like what's there and when they're accessible. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So it's a fun tool that we have. Thank you,
Fun.
Colgate. Are there any questions, or has anything come? Go ahead.
What would you like to tell us to tell prospective students?
About
About the Colgate experience. What's like one thing from your office that you'd like us to learn?
Want to say a little bit more about that? I'm 6 weeks in the job, so what do you mean?
Well, I'm one of the senior interns, and one of my roles is conducting interviews. And if they ask about the LGBTQ experience on campus, what would you like to speak about?
I'll be honest, I feel like 6 weeks in, I can't really give you a solid answer just yet because I'm still learning the campus and the job, and I haven't met with all the students. But what I would like there to be known, unless you want to say
I
something.
mean, I can talk about what I know about my last year.
You want to do that?
Sure.
I'll let her answer that.
Yeah. So what I would say about the LGBTQ or queer experience for students on campus, I would say the Center and LGBTQ Initiatives has a lot of resources to help students through not only the transition into college, but what that means as an LGBTQ student. And there are also Lambda, which you mentioned, and QT-POC are really great spaces for a student to meet weekly and really decompress their experiences or getting tips for how to handle certain things. Because, not only have they not been on a college campus, they might be trans on a college campus. So how do you manage that? So I think between the offices and also the student groups, there is a strong support network that can help a student not only survive Colgate, but thrive, that's my favorite word, do really well on this campus. And also we have a really strong, it's small, women's studies is small, LGBT studies is a little smaller. They're both small, but they're very strong and passionate about the subjects that they teach and what they talk about. So there's wonderful opportunities for research in those fields and to really kind of have a queer experience at Colgate that's not only your social life and you personally, but also academically. Yeah, so I think we have a lot of resources and support to help a student who is worried about that, because that's a question of worry for queer students who are starting college. Yeah.
But I also would like to say every experience is different.
They are.
Because not every student is the same and will experience things the same, and so it's really what you make of it. But again, we are here to support everyone and make sure that they feel like Colgate is for them.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Well, then I guess I'm done.
All right. Thank you so much to both of you. This was super helpful. And thank you all for your great questions. So